Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Kricken. Happy Halloween. This is a special episode of Survival because in this episode, we're actually going to be reading a creepypasta. And if you guys don't know what those are, they are scary stories. And this one, I tried to find a Halloween one, but it was really hard to find a good Halloween one. So, we have one, and it's titled Where the Bad Kids Go. So let me just go over here and find my my little campfire tent place area. Somebody in the comments suggested this, and I forgot to write down your name, but in the next episode, I would definitely give you credit. Look at that. Wow. It's a great cape. I'll definitely give you credit because it was a good idea. And I completely forgot to write down your name, but it was awesome, and you're awesome for thinking of this. So was it over here? It was over here. All right. So we have our little campfire tent over here. My tent is not like awesome, but don't judge my tent making skills because they're not that bad, but they're pretty bad. We have like some friends sitting around a campfire with us. Okay, so let's place another one. I don't want it to be like too light because it's supposed to be spooky. It's gonna be spooky. All right, so what's this title? It's titled Where the Bad Kids Go. All right. Everything I say is gonna be directly from the story until afterwards. Crap. Dang it. No. Okay, let's try this again. All right. Here we go. I must have been 6 or 7 when I lived in Lebanon. The country was ravaged by war at the time, and the murders were common and frequent. I remember during a particularly vicious era, when the bombings rarely stopped, I would stay at home sitting in front of my television watching a very, very strange show. It was a kids' show that lasted about 30 minutes and contained strange and sinister images. To this day, I believe it was a thinly veiled attempt on the part of the media to use scare tactics to keep kids in place, because the moral of every episode revolved around very uptight ideologies. Stuff like, bad kids stay up late, bad kids have their hands under the covers when they sleep, and bad kids steal food from the fridge at night. It was a very weird, and in Arabic to top it off. I didn't understand much of it, but for the most part, the images were very graphic and comprehensive. The thing that stuck with me the most, however, was the closing scene. It remained very much the same in every episode. The camera would zoom in on an old, rusted, closed door, and as it got closer to the door, strange and sometimes even agonizing screams would become more audible. It was extremely frightening, especially for children's programming. Then a thin text would appear on the screen in Arabic reading, "That's where the bad kids go." Eventually, both the image and the sound would fade out, and that would be the end of the episode. About 15 or 16 years later, I became a journalistic photographer. That show had been in my mind all my life, popping up in my thoughts sporadically. Eventually, I'd had enough and decided to do some research. I finally managed to uncover the location of where the studio, where much of that channel's programming had been recorded. Upon further research and eventually traveling on site, I found out it was now desolate and had been abandoned after the big war ended. I entered the building with my camera. It was burnt out from the inside. Either a fire had broken out or someone had wanted to incinerate all of the wooden furniture. After a few hours of cautiously winking my way around the studio and snapping pictures, I found an isolated, out-of-the-way room. Having to break through the few old locks and managing to break the heavy door open, I remained frozen in the doorway for several long minutes. Traces of blood, feces, and tiny bone fragments lay scattered across the floor. It was a small room and an extremely morbid scene. What truly frightened me, though, what made me turn away and never want to come back, was the bolted, caged microphone hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the room. All right, so what a nice story. So if you guys didn't understand a little bit at the end there, basically the writer of this story went back to the room in Lebanon and the agonizing screams that they always heard at the end of the TV show came from that room, and there were actually people being tortured in that room. So that's a little bit creepy. And if you have any intention to be bad, to be a bad kid, you should rethink it, because you might end up going into a room and being tortured somewhere in Lebanon. I don't think that actually happens. This story was not real, by the way. It's fake. It's a creepypasta. I'll link the creepypasta story in the description, just in case you want to read it or you want to read along with me or whatever. But yeah, that's the creepypasta that I had for this episode. There were a lot of other ones that were good that I wanted to do, but they were either rated like M, like very, very mature, or they were really bloody and gory, and I did not want to describe all the blood and stuff that was in the stories. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have an awesome Halloween. If you have any awesome costumes, you should link them in the description and show me, because I love seeing costumes. And I want to know how many of you are going to go out trick-or-treating tonight, or if your country even celebrates Halloween. So make sure to tell me in the comment section. And also, if you have any challenges for the next episode, you can tell me there too. I'll be pulling comments from the last episode and this episode for the challenges for next episode. So have a great night, everyone. Be safe while you're trick-or-treating. And remember, don't be a bad kid. Have an awesome day, guys. See you next time.
The other day.